Have you ever thought, if only I knew what I was meant to do with my life? Because I know that was me. 5 years ago, that was me. I wanted to know what it was that I was supposed to do with my life. I wanted to have dreams and aspire to do them and actually do them. But the thing is, I had a deep wound deep inside my heart that I did not know how to heal, and time had not healed that wound. So this is my story, and I want to share it just so that you can feel that you're not alone and that there is hope, that you can dream your dreams and actually do them, and not just one day hope that it will happen. I remember when I was a young teen, I had so many dreams and so many aspirations, and one of them was I wanted to be a famous painter. I was an artist, and I had always had a knack for painting masterpieces from when I was a little girl. And my parents encouraged my gift, and so I went to painting lessons. And so that was a passion of mine for many years, and still is to an extent today. That dream then evolved into I wanted to be an interior designer and design beautiful homes for people to live in. And so I would sketch and re-sketch plans of people's one day to be homes, and I would imagine the people that would live inside the spaces I was creating and daydream about the day that I would one day be a designer. But I would dream and imagine and never do, and I would get extremely discouraged at the thought of trying to figure out how to make these dreams become reality and not just a daydream. You see, I was stuck in a cycle of self-sabotage, and maybe this sounds familiar to you. I would think about doing my dreams, but never do anything about them. You see, I had a wound so deep in my heart that time had not healed. They say time heals all, but time had not healed this wound that I had. And so I began to really look into myself and realize, man, if only I could be the person that I know I'm created to be, what can I do to change this? Because I was lonely, brokenhearted, I was anxious, I lived in a depressed state most of the time. And nobody knew. Nobody knew that I struggled with these things, but I knew. The wound that happened was when I was almost 14 years old. My mom, who I loved and adored and had a great relationship with up until this point, became another person overnight. She had a mental breakdown and was diagnosed as being schizophrenic and bipolar. And the life that I knew came crumbling down, and I didn't know who I was anymore. Overnight, I had to grow up and be a parent, a mother figure to my two younger brothers. I had to learn to cook and clean and do laundry at the young age of almost 14. I would turn 14 2 months after that. And I struggled with that new role, and I tried to do the best that I could and be the daughter that I knew I was supposed to be. But I slowly began to see how my dreams faded further and further away because I didn't ever think that I would amount to anything. And because of this wound that I had that was so deep, and because of the fact that we didn't want to shame my mom, and disclaimer, she's good now. She has had a really, really good last 2 years, and she's stable mentally. Because of the wound that I had, I didn't think I would amount to anything. And so we as a family decided not to say anything about the condition of my mom's mental state. And to make matters worse, we lived as missionaries, and we felt like it was necessary to uphold a certain view of what people thought we should be. And that really wounded me. It really scarred me for a long, long time because I felt like I couldn't talk about the things that I was struggling with and the things that I wanted to do better with. Throughout the years that followed, my mom was in and out of the mental hospital, and instability became the new normal for our family. I started to believe the lie that I would never amount to anything and that dreams equaled fairy tales. I started to become depressed. What was the meaning of life anyway? Anxious, when would another mental episode turn our lives upside down yet again? I was lonely. I was not allowed to talk to anyone outside of a few select people of what was really going on behind closed doors with my mom, so as not to shame her. Does this look familiar? A pillow? I sobbed into my pillows countless times, more times than I can count, until the nothingness of sleep overcame me. And yet another day would continue of broken dreams and feeling like a failure. True happiness? Forget about true happiness. I found some sort of comfort in losing myself in my paintings. And this was my life for about 10 years. And then this happened. In 2017, I met who is now my husband. He was leading a Bible study group, and he could see just how broken I was through the facade of what I was trying to uphold. He could see that I needed to heal from the wounds of my past, and he recommended a program to me to go through to learn to get rid of the baggage that I held on my back for so long, and so that my heart could be healed. I went through the program and I learned how to get rid of the baggage that I had held for so long, and how to get rid of the negative tapes that would play in my head over and over and over, and that I would self-sabotage with. Discovering who I was truly meant to be also healed the relationship between my mom and I, and she is doing so much better than she has in years. And it's also healed the relationship between my dad and I. In 2018, I married this young man. His name is Roberto. And the following year, we had our first baby girl. The following year after that, we had our second baby girl. You could say life was eventful for the last 3 years. We have our 2 precious little girls. And when I became a mom, I realized that I was capable of doing so much more than I ever imagined I would be capable of doing. If I was able to go through pregnancy, labor, giving birth, raising my 2 babies, and nursing them on top of all of that, I would be capable of doing anything that I set my mind to. Any dream that I had ever had was within my grasp if I would just apply myself. And so a little over 2 months ago, I started our 4th business with my husband called Garcia Grandeur. It is a design business, y'all. It's a design business. It is what I've always dreamed of doing. And I am so excited because I want to help the young woman who I used to be transform into the person that she is meant to be. And that is what I'm using my Instagram for, because my story, I know, can touch and reach so many other young women who are going through a similar situation. You're not alone. I used to be you. I didn't know what to do with my life, but now I do. And you can too. Your story is so valuable, and I'm so excited to help you along the journey of creating a lovely masterpiece of a life. You too can know exactly what it is that you're meant to do in this life. And I can't wait to help you get there.